Hi everyone, it's Dash of Dave here again. I'm back for another crafty video. So this time we're going to make a record box like this, which looks very similar to the way that my record box from my past looks. Now I do still have all my records, and they are currently in the basement, but they're not accessible at the moment because we're currently in the process of trying to work on the basement and get it all sorted out. So I was going to show you, but I'll show you at a later date. So this is the box to fit the same records that we made last time. So the records are in here. So there's a couple of empty sleeves, and then I've made, this one says do tell instead of K-tell, and then we've made some different ones, lots of records, and they're all that same size. They're 4-inch size record, and a 4 1/4 inch sleeve, which means that this box is sized for these. So if you've made a bigger record, then you'll need a bigger box. So, but I'll show you how to make this particular thing. Sorry, let's just get all of those back in there. So I will just also say to you, I am currently melting because I've got the window closed because there's numerous wasps outside all trying to get in, and therefore I've got the fan on, which is underneath my desk, and with it, if I turn it off, then I will die. So hopefully you can hear me, and hopefully this is all going to be as clear as day. Okay, what you're going to need, 2 pieces of card. Okay, and you're going to need 2 pieces of card, one measuring 8 1/4 by 9 3/4. This is in inches, and the other one measuring 5 1/4 by 7 1/2. Okay, again, all of these things are going to be inches, the score lines, everything. And I do it so that our friends in America can follow along. I know that in the UK we're kind of good at doing the universal toing and froing between the 2 different styles of measuring, and we're kind of a bit more au fait with that than America is. So that's the reason why I'm catering to an American audience. The biggest percentage of my viewers are in America. So first piece of card needs to be at 8 1/4. And if I sound bunged up, I'm really sorry. That's because I am. And then by 9 3/4. So 8 1/4 by 9 3/4, and that's to make this size that we're making here. Okay, and that's called that's called piece of card number 1, because then it'll just help you distinguish between which piece of card I'm referring to. This is piece of card number 2, which is 5 1/2. Sorry, 5 1/4, not 5 1/2. 5 1/4. Let's make sure that's on that straight. 5 1/4 that way. Take that off. Put that over there. By 7 1/2. Okay, so this is number 2. So we've got piece of card number 1 and piece of card number 2. Piece of card number 1 measures 8 1/4 by 9 8 1/4 by 9 3/4, and piece of card number 2 measures 5 1/4 by 7 1/2. Okay, and that's how it works, because this will form the front part and this will form the back and the sides, and that's why this is wider. So next thing you'll need is a scoreboard or whatever you have to hand that will do the same job. Turn it over to the inch side, and again working on the larger piece of card, which is piece of card number 1. Okay, so on this, having it on the board so that it is lengthways. So this is lengthways, portrait. This is landscape, horizontal. Okay, so we're having it lengthways, and the first measure, the first score you're going to do is you're going to go to the 2. Yeah, and you're going to score on there. And remember, this is the lengthways way. You're going to go 2, and then you're going to turn it round 180 degrees, and then you're going to score it again at 2. And that way then that will form the 2 side panels, and the middle bit will be sufficiently sized, so it'll be 4 1/4 to be able to fit your 4 1/8 sleeves in, with a bit of wiggle room so that you can get them in nice and easily without them buckling, etc. Okay, so when you've done that, you're going to turn it 90 degrees so that it's horizontal or landscape. Okay, and then we're going to score it again. This is piece of card number 1. We're now going to score it at 1 1/2. Then we're going to score it at 3 1/2. Yeah, and then we're going to score it at 5 1/2. Okay, we're just going to take that off for the moment. And then we're going to get our other piece of card, which I have to put over there. Which, no, that's not it. Where is it? That's not it, Dave. That's your off cut. It's under my mat. So, with your second piece of card, again, having it so that it's lengthways or vertical, okay, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. Then you're going to turn it 180 degrees and score it 1/2 inch. Okay, so you've got 2 parallel lines now. Okay, now you're going to turn it round 90 degrees so that it's now horizontal or landscape, and you're going to score this at 1/2 inch. Yeah. 2 1/2 inches and 5 1/2 inches. Okay, so I will explain what all of these are. Just having problems breathing at the moment, so I don't know why I need to breathe. It's unnecessary, isn't it? So let me just explain what these are. So panel number 1 and panel number 2. So panel number 1 forms the back, so you'll have, this is the back panel, yeah, this is the top, this is the front, and this is the bit that folds in. Now that's something I didn't do on my prototype, but I found that this helps it to strengthen it, especially with you opening this. I've found a few ways just to strengthen it, just to make it less bendy when you're pressing your thing in. Otherwise you'll find that you pull it in one bit all the time and it'll end up with a curled up corner. So I've just kind of improved it a little. So, and then this panel forms the front, and that the way it fits on is this panel is a tab that connects to the back panel. This bit is the bottom, this bit is the front, which isn't quite as deep, because remember you want that classic bit that you used to be able to see your records with. And then this is the flap that folds in to strengthen that front panel. Okay, so let's cut these down and you'll see what I'm doing then. Okay, so first of all, what I want you to do is I want you to cut, so holding it horizontal or in landscape, okay, and you want you to cut in, so with the narrowest part to your cutting side. Okay, so for my case, I cut with my right hand, so this narrow part is on the right. If I was left-handed, it would be the other way. Okay, so you're going to cut down to the middle there. Okay, and then you're going to do the same with this one here. Okay, but don't cut this just yet. Then you're going to turn it all the way around and you're going to do the same again, but you're going to do the opposite side all the way down to the middle, all the way down to the middle. Okay, so don't shape it just yet. I'll talk about the shaping part of it in a second. Okay, so now that we've got that sorted, what we need to do is we now need to get just a little bit more technical. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're just going to bend these away just for the moment. Okay, because you're going to put all of these bends in anyway, but you're going to cut this time, you're going to cut down from here down to that first crease. Okay, there we go, and then you're going to do the same again on this side. Okay, and what that does is, let's just flip it back over so we can see. This is the bit that's going to fold in, okay, so we're going to lose these tabs, okay, and this is the top bit, okay, and we're going to fold these in, okay. This is the, this is the front panel. So let's just do that. So that's the back, that's the top panel, this is the front panel. So we want to strengthen that front panel, okay. We don't need to strengthen the top, that's fine, but we want to strengthen the side panels as well, okay. So that's the reason for doing this, and this bit is going to fold down over the front of this. Also strengthens that front panel, but also gives you a nice edge. So I'll show you what we're doing with that in a second. Okay, so now you can put in all of your folds. So all of them, they're all going to fold in the same way. So it doesn't matter what you do first or which way you attack it. Okay, and we're just going to fold that back in it. We'll put these in. And then fold that in. Okay, so that's all the folds. Okay, so we'll finish this one off and then we'll come to this one. Okay, so these are gonna fold in like this. Okay, so you just want to make sure you've got clearance for that, and that's fine. They're not actually going to be doing anything, so they're not, you know, movable parts or anything like that, but they just fold in, and you just want to make sure that when you fold it in, it's not none of these are sticking over the edge, and so it's not stopping it from folding in. So we're just going to leave those where they are. This has nothing on it, okay, but these are going to fold in to here. Okay, and again, you just want to make sure that that's not going to stop this from doing anything. Okay, if it does, you might need to get rid of some bits. Okay, so it is kind of just catching on there, so I'm just going to remove the finest bit off there. See, that was, you're probably thinking that was not worth cutting off, Dave, but for me it was. Okay, not easy to cut this. A steady hand. Be nice if I had one. The pressure of being on camera as well doesn't help. Pressure to get it right. There we go. Get rid of that. So now again, when I just fold those in, does that stop it from doing anything? No, it doesn't now. That's fine. Okay, so, and these ones, these panels here, we're going to cut off. Just remember, this is not a functioning part, this is just a flap that folds in just to strengthen the whole thing up. Okay, so that's all of those pieces, and we'll get rid of those because that's rubbish. And now we'll come to this one. Okay, so this one, again, what we're going to do is we're just going to cut in for the minute. So these corner bits, we're going to lose these completely. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut across this corner. So this is where we've got the 1/2 inch towards us, the 1/2 inch fold line towards us, and we're just going to fold that off and cut those off. Okay, so these are all panels. Okay, all of the side pieces, the narrow pieces of panels. So now what we want to do is we just want to cut into them, and I'm cutting quite steeply because they're going to fold over, and they could interfere with each other, and I'll show you what I mean when I come to do the folding. You'll see why it's quite useful to cut all of them out at a quite steep angle. So a lot steeper than we would do normally. Sorry, shallow angle, not steep, than we would do normally, because normally we would be using them to strengthen our box as well. So cutting all of these out, doesn't matter if they don't match, it's fine. So now what you want to do is we're going to put all of these folds in. Okay, so just do all of those, all your side panels, your bottom tab, sorry, your side tabs. Okay, and then fold this over. Might want to just get those flaps out of the way just so they're not interfering with any of it. Okay, so there we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to assemble it. So the way that we're going to assemble it is, first of all, move some things out of the way, get rid of the bits out of the way. Okay, the way it's going to assemble is if you have it, if you lie out flat and you have it so that the panel number 1 is in your right hand and panel number 2 is in your left hand, with the small flap, the tab of panel number 2 facing towards panel number 1, okay, because that's the join, that's how we're going to join them. They're going to join together like this, okay. So what we're first of all we're going to do is we're going to flip it over now. So this is the outside of the box, yeah, and we're going to glue on this panel. I'm going to get up to that score line, glue on the panel. So yes, it is a bit more complicated, this box, but it's nothing that is unachievable. I know full well that if you can do the not impossible box, you can do this. If you can make any of the Denizen boxes that I've made, then you can definitely do this. So it's just, once you start making boxes, you get a bit more to grips with what all of the folding is, and you start to see it as an engineering thing. Okay, so now we've joined it, what we're going to do is flip it back over. So the only reason why I flipped it like that is it's much easier to join, so that you can see. Remember, when you're gluing it together, you want to be able to see the crease. If you're gluing and you pull this panel over so you can't see that crease line, then you've gone a bit too far, okay. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to glue in the side panel parts, okay. So these flappy bits, so we're just going to put glue all over these. So these are going to be inside. They don't need to look beautiful, but obviously they just need to be stuck down. So glue that down, make sure that that sticks. And we're going to do that symmetrically. So we're going to do this one now. You just want to make sure it catches so that it doesn't, right on the edge, so that it doesn't catch on any of the records that you put in the box. When you're gluing it, just make sure that these lines, these edges line up, which they do. That's fine. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to fold this in. Now, your choice entirely what you do. So let me just say, all right, we've got a bit of a problem because that's not folding over properly. So again, I'm not going to shape it to a tab. I'm just going to cut it down so that it doesn't interfere with this folding over. Just flip this over and cut that. So let's put those back in again and see if that does it now. Yeah, that's much better now. So that's how it's going to be. So what we're going to do is, you could fold it that way and then do these over the top, but I think it looks, aesthetically, I think it looks nicer this way. So you don't really see it from the outside, but you see it when you open the lid. So I've gone through quite a few iterations of this, and this is the one that I found to be the best for strength and appearance. So I've tried lots of different ones. So that's what I do on a Saturday. I spend time engineering things, but I've been doing this, been making this one over the course of a few weeks, because it's not something I had seen anybody else make, not seen another one of them, and thought, how can I do that? So I've had to go through quite a few iterations. Normally I see somebody else's and think, I could improve that, but I didn't this time. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to fold this one in, and that's just going to sit over. Okay, so you just want to make sure that none of it hangs over the edge, which I'm just going to snip this bit off, this very edge off, so it doesn't do that. And we're going to fold it in like that. Yeah, cool. Again, just make sure it goes up to the edge. Or if you're like me, you just want to glue right over the edge of it, Dave, because you're making a mess of it. But remember, it's on the inside, so it doesn't matter. So I'm going to fold that in, and we're just going to make sure that that glues down, because it's going over. This time it's folding, it's not just folding over itself, it's folding over another layer. So you just want to make sure that you get that glued in nicely, and that just gives you a nice rigid bit at the front, so it's a lot less flimsy than this one. That was my prototype. I've made other part iterations of them since, so I might have to take my watch off because I'm so sweaty. I'm literally dribbling with sweat, which is probably more information than you wanted, but hey, caring is sharing. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to fold these in. Okay, first of all, what you want to do is let's just have it on its side for a minute. What these are going to do are these are going to be the flaps that connect here, but what you want to make sure is when they are in the 90-degree angle, they're not overlapping each other. That's why I cut them at a shallower angle than I would normally. And again, with that one at a 90-degree angle, it's not going to interfere with each other. Whereas if you cut them much more steep, they'd overlap each other, and it distorts the box. It pushes the box out of shape. So what we're going to do is we're just going to fold those in and glue that flap, and we're going to do, no, we won't do, let's not get giddy. Let's do it this way for you guys first. So we're going to glue this one, and we're going to line it up, yeah, like this, and we're only going to pinch it together when we know that we have lined it up, but we can still see that folded edge, and that way then we know we've got a nice shape to it. Okay, now we're going to flip it over, and we're going to do the same on the other side. So we're just going to fold this out of the way. This is the side panel, remember. We're just going to put glue on there. Okay, and then we're going to close the side panel over, and again we're just going to make sure that we've got a nice attachment there. So can you see here we've got, you can see the crease, yeah, but you can see the edge, and they meet together, they marry up nicely, they're not overhanging each other. And just pinch it down when you know it's in the right place. Okay, cool. Once you've done that, you can get in there with your bone folder and just give it a press down on that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put the side panel in. Okay, oh sorry, I've just realised I've left these on and they're not, so you don't need those. It's me being silly. Those bits are going to cut off. Just these top panel, because remember this is the one that's going to fold in to give us a bit of strength. So because I forgot to do that, we'll do that now. This is what you get for changing the prototype. Just cut that down because I'm not happy with the way that cut. Okay, so you can get yours right, I can get mine wrong. Taking one for the team, that's called. Okay, so this is just your strengthening panel on your front edge. It just stops it also when you're pressing the two together. It just stops it bowing in so much when you're pressing your Velcro dots together. Now you can choose to, you might want to choose to use a magnet, and this would be a good opportunity to hide your magnet. So you could put your either your magnet or your piece of metal on this bit, and your magnet or your piece of metal on this bit, and sandwich the two together. The thing is, I didn't like the way that the magnet sat for me. I couldn't get them to line up, and also my magnets tend to be quite deep, and I felt they were too bulky. So you might have a very thin magnet, and that's great. Okay. The other problem I have regarding magnets is I have a lot of magnets and not a lot of magnetic panels that they connect to. So again, we're going to do one side first. I'm going to curl it in. Now remember, this doesn't meet right to the top, so don't expect it to. Again, we're going to shape it, make sure it's in the right place first, and then we're going to pinch it. I'm going to get in there with the bone folder before you manhandle the other side, or person handle. There we go. And then we're going to go over to the other side. And again, we're just going, this time the last one is always the more difficult one, because you're kind of having to pull the box apart in order to get into the flap that you need. So there we go, and then we're going to connect those two bits together. Again, being able to see that crease, you want to see the crease in that paper, the fold in the paper. Flip it over, and then put it down. Okay, so now we've got the workings of our box. So that is our box basically. We've got our more solid pieces, which means that when they press them together they don't bow so much. Okay, and then you've got your side panels, which means the reason why the side panels were strengthened is what you'll find is after you've been doing this a few times is these side bits. So this was my very first iteration of a prototype, which is the one I showed you in the last video. This is without any strengthening. I found that these started to curl out, so it just stops that from happening. Okay, so I also had to use 2 pieces of cardboard glued together in order to get this to work, so that's the reason why it's kind of delaminating now. So that's the basics of our box. Right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the front of it, and we're going to make the handle. So the handle, the way I made the handle, now I don't think everybody's going to have this, is I made it out of a tab. Right, so this is a tab. Okay, so this is my Vasson Creative brought out these. Okay, now they were out of stock on Amazon, and I think they are back in stock, but don't quote me. Okay, so this is 1 inch in depth. Okay, so I made my handles out of this. So what I did was I took a piece of card here, which I cut down to being 3/4 of an inch. So sorry, I folded it over and then cut it down so it's 3/4 of an inch this way. Okay, so in total that makes it whatever that is. What's that? 1.5 inches. Yeah, 1.5 inches. So folded it over. It's now 3/4 of an inch. Then what I did was I put it into the tab punch so that the open end is facing out. Okay, I put it in, I put it all the way down to where it stops at that butt. Okay, so this is using this style one where it's a folded piece of card, and then you punch it out and you get this. Okay, which then you think, well, how does that look like a handle, Dave? Well, it doesn't. Okay, but what you can do is you can then use your your little circle punch like this. I believe it's this way. This way. You put it in this way with the fold going in. Okay, and you put it on this one. You kind of butt it up to wherever it'll go, trying to keep hold of it while you've got it there, and then you just punch that bit out. Try and get the thing out of the without it flying onto the floor. Except for I've lost it, so you just have to bear with me. I don't know where it's gone. I kind of flung it. It's gone. Okay, found it. So yeah, so I punched it, sorry, and then I forgot to press record again. So I punched the hole out. Okay, so, and then all I've done is I've taken this and cut out the rest of it. Okay, and that gives me that handle shape. Okay, so now what I need to do is I just need to shape this down. So all I did was, actually the way that I did it last time was I just put it on the scoreboard and did it like this. So I opened it out. Now you could just freehand cut this. I only did it because when I tried to freehand cut it, I was getting a right mess. So I scored it sort of there and turned it round. There's no, I can't tell you what the score of this is because you'll just have to kind of eyeball it. Okay, and then I folded it on that bit. And then I put another score line a bit further in. Turned it round. Another one a bit further in. Okay, and then what I did was I just used all of those little folds to manipulate it. So one I fold in, so the one nearest the handle part is an out, and the one nearest the base is an in. So but you make your handle however you want to make it. You might not want to make a handle for it, so I just wanted it to look like a record case handle. So we've got that little handly shape, and then you've got a flat base here on which to glue the handly bits together, and then I glued the base bit. So I just put glue kind of all the way through it, round. Pinch it all together, line it up so it lines up nicely. It's gone very dark outside. I think it might thunder. They'd have threatened thunder today, so like that. Okay. Trying to get glue all over your fingers, and then just put on the flat bits. Just put a blob of glue and then stick that on the top. Okay, so rather than eyeballing it, get this in. So it should measure 4 1/4 wide, which it does. So that should mean that this will be in the middle is about 6 and 1/18. No, 2 2 1/16 ish. About there, it's fine. I'm just going to press it down now. It's got something to press onto. Not straight, Dave. No, I'm not straight. That's true. When you wiggle something around too much, you know that you've taken all the glue off it. So. Okay, so like this, that's just exactly the same as that. And it's just glued down. This one again. This one I measured, this one I didn't. I kind of just lay the ruler on top and just stuck it down. Okay, so once that's in place, the way that your closure works is you're using a piece of one of these Velcro dots. Now, like I say, you could choose to put a magnet in. If you're going to do a magnet, I would do it before you glue all of these panels down, okay? But I'm going to use one of these. So these are just the two sides. You've got a sticky clear dot and you've got a sticky fluffy opaque white dot, okay? But I'm also going to use a bit of card, so a bit of mirror card. So I've got some offcuts of mirror card here, and I cut it at 3/4 of an inch wide so it doesn't move. And hold it down, Dave, and do that. Let's see if we can get a straight one this time. Oh yeah, that's much better. So what I did was I snipped off the corners of one end. I flipped it over and snipped the other corner. Try and get that in the corner, Dave. Nice if you could. Okay, so snipped the corners off, yeah, and then I cut it down to being, get this back out. This is a very big, cumbersome cutter for the tiny cut that I'm going to do. And I'm going to cut it to 1 1/4 inches, which means I've got something to grab hold of. And then I'm going to cut that same corner off again. Now I know it cuts both ways, but what I find is that it never marries up perfectly. The way that it cuts on the other corner when you flip it over, sorry, when you just turn it round, it cuts slightly differently and the angle just doesn't look right for me. So that's the reason why I'm doing it like this, and then just flipping the card over. There we go. And then again, just doing 1 1/4 cut, and I'm only cutting one end, and that's so that you can use the flat edge to marry up with your box edge. Okay, so this is the time when you may want to do some measuring. So let's do this for top bit first. So we've got 4 1/4 wide. 4 1/4 wide? Yeah, 4 1/4 wide. And we want to put it in the middle, which is 2 1/16. Oh no, we need it on the other side. It's going on the inside, isn't it, Dave? It's a bit short of 4 1/4 because remember we trimmed it a little. So there's the middle. Okay, and then what I did was I put my Velcro dot on the top one. So you're going to have to choose which part you want the clear one on and which part you want the opaque bit. I put the opaque bit on this panel because you don't see it, whereas you see the clear one. So I'm just going to put that kind of there. Oh, of course that's the middle because that's the bit where the two bits meet. So that's the middle. Okay, and then what I did was I stuck this bit onto the front without attaching that. I would suggest you ink around the sides. Now I'm going to ink. I didn't on my prototype. I'm going to ink this time though, and I'm going to use black ink. So just going to ink around the edges so you just don't see that white edge. It's just an aesthetic thing. It's not going to make any difference to the thing at all. And of course you can use silver, and then again just find the middle of this. Let's do that the right way around. 4 1/4, and then just glue on the back of here. And then you're going to put that edge right up to there. You're going to get it kind of in the middle, and Bob's your uncle, which apparently is a saying peculiar to us Brits. Bob's your uncle. Don't know who Bob is, but like apparently Joni likes that particular saying. Bob's your uncle. Get all of that all off in a minute. That's just because I've got sticky fingers. Okay, so that's that bit, and then we're going to put this bit on. Okay, again we want the middle bit. I want to find the middle. Let's do it that way around, Dave. I'll rest it on there. No, we need it that way around, Dave. I'm easily confused, can you tell? Move this bit down. So, oh, I didn't ink it. Silly boy. Not the time really to be inking when it's gluey, but hey. You don't get polished and refined in this place, though. If you want a polished and refined channel, you're in the wrong place. We wing it round here. So that's 4 1/4, so that means a 16th is there. And a 16th, sorry, and an 1/8. You see, I'll get all of the measurements wrong, and then if you just hold them together, you just want to make sure that they line up, which this doesn't. So I'm just going to move it. Okay, so I managed to glue it down in the end. It was getting it kept pulling apart, then it lifted this up and it peeled the gold off, and then so anyway, I've got it glued now. It was a bit of a wrestling match, but it all went fine with that one, so I don't know why it's doing this. So there we go. So that connects together like that, and it opens up like that. Okay, so now what we do is, all I did was I printed some album covers as stickers. So, and I've also got a few other stickers here. Well, things that I'm going to stick all over it, because my record box looked very similar to this. Okay, so I'm just going to do something very similar on this now. So these are all little things that I cut out. So there's some Coventry things, because I used to have like City of Coventry stuff stuck all over my record box, etc., because I lived in Coventry and I was a Coventry kid. I was born in Coventry. Big up Coventry. And then I just distress inked it. Now I'm using my new frayed burlap. I don't know why I have to say it with an American twang. I'm not speaking American, I realise that. And I kind of dirtied them up a bit. You know, they've been around since the 80s, so get rid of some of that. It's a bit too inky for the front of it. Just don't like them to look too, you know, the white to look too white. So Swing Out Sister, another group that I really liked. Pet Shop Boys, Erasure, bit of a one-trick pony really. I liked listening to other things, but like I tended to buy mostly those when I was a kid. I bought some blancmange as well, but the band blancmange, not the food. And I still liked a bit of disco, because I used to roller disco. I used to be able to roller skate. I know. I bet I tell you now. I bet I couldn't roller skate now. I'm very aware that I probably end up with some kind of major injury or trauma as a result of trying to even try now. And I definitely can't ice skate. I've never been able to ice skate. I thought I was once very cocky and thought, oh, I bet I'll be able to do this, because I used to be able to roller skate. Just got on the ice and like fell flat on my face, and realised that the two, just because you could do one didn't mean to say you could do the other. So Pet Shop Boys was my very favourite group. I saw on Facebook today that actually the album is this Please? Oh, this is Please. That's not actually. Actually, the album is 36 years old. It's inconceivable, really, because like when I was younger, I just wouldn't have thought that anything from 36 years prior was, you know, good or listen worthy. But now I think, you know, I like modern music, and I like my old stuff, and I don't think that they're terribly different. I mean, a lot of the new stuff is sampled from the 80s, but you wouldn't have dreamed of anybody sampling the 50s music. So anyway, he digresses. But yeah, it was just really weird. I was like, what? 36 years? No. Anyway, there we go. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these stickers all over it to kind of finish it off. So this one's an actual sticker, so you just can kind of go mad and do what you like and stick them wherever you feel and have a bit of fun. And the only thing I didn't like doing was fussy cutting them. So, but you know, I did stick them round corners and things, and some of them are peeling off. Some of them have left horrible sticky marks. So you know where it has peeled off, and it's now left a really tacky, horrible mark, which, you know, I could get off with Goo Gone, but I was just horrified, and I don't know what sticker's missing now. So be courageous. It's the kind of motivational thing that I needed when I was a kid. I wasn't very courageous, I will just say. Didn't go very many places. I didn't have many friends, so you can be courageous, but I think sometimes you need other people to make you courageous or encourage your courageous just get that. just stick them all over, and you have a bit of fun making it, and you reminisce, sing a few tracks as you go. Swing Out Sister, I liked them. Of course, I had to do the obligatory Rubik's Cube. Try that again. Rubik's Cube, because that was everywhere in the 80s. Bit of erasure. Who needs love like that? Yeah, nobody wants love. Nobody wants singing like that. You can have love like that, but singing, no. Yeah, erasure. Oh, Pet Shop Boys on there. There's a Coventry one. Just going to overlay that. And you know, you can have a bit of fun. You can stick them where you like, and I'll have a Pet Shop Boys one on the top. Smash Hits. I don't know anybody, if you're from the UK, do you remember Smash Hits? Smash Hits magazine. If you were, well, I think Smash Hits started in 1978, I believe, and was published until 2006. So there's a few generations of kids there that would remember Smash Hits magazine. I loved Smash Hits magazine. Used to get it every, I think it came out fortnightly. I used to get it every fortnight. That was my treat, and then I'd slope off back to my bedroom and think my parents didn't know what life was real life was like, and the trials and tribulations of being young, and like, what do they know, and all of that, you know, the teenage angst that everybody goes through. Yeah, so I used to read through all of the pop news and find out new bands and where bands were playing, and used to think, oh, I'd love to be able to go and see them, but actually knowing full well that if I went and saw them, it'd be too overwhelming and I wouldn't be able to get on with it. So Coventry Speedway, for some reason I liked Coventry Speedway. I don't like any sport really, but I liked Speedway. They were called Brandon Bees, and I don't know, maybe like, you know, bikers in leather, maybe that's what it was. So I was young and I didn't know who I was. So there we go. That's it. So that's our little record box made with all complete with our stickers. So it's just like this. Like I say, it's just a strengthened version of this. And yeah, so I hope you'll give that a go, and I hope you liked that. And you know, you can use it for anything. Just think how lovely that would be as a nice little gift, full of some nice journal cards. So remember, these are like journal cards, full of journal cards. You could even have fun with the records. You could, you know, whatever record it was, it might be something relevant to the person. So if the person, you know, is a big fan of the Pet Shop Boys, for instance, you could just have an album of a box of Pet Shop Boys records. You could, or you could use the names of the track to symbolise the person. You know, so you could do a great Valentine's thing, you know, to have like lots of records that were like lovey records, or things that, you know, were tongue-in-cheek, you know, or things that you could give to you, a bit like a mixtape. Remember when we used to make mixtapes? And you make a mixtape for your best friend. Well, you might want to make a little box card like this with all your best friends' records in. They can look through, reminisce, download them from Spotify. Let's face it, I own all of my old vinyl. I rarely play it because I've got Spotify and it's available at my fingertips. So there we go. Anyway, I hope you like that. I hope that's something you'll give a try of. And yeah. So please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Please follow me around the supermarket if you like. It's very boring though, I'll warn you. and please subscribe if you aren't already. And don't forget that I love you all without exception until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, folks. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Lots of love, lots of hugs. And I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. Bye.